Just to get things started, how many times have you started your day on a super productive note, just thinking it's going to go really, really awesome, only to have it sidetracked by something totally trivial and something you couldn't have foreseen? You know, whether you're biking to work in the morning, didn't realize your tire pressure was off, and blowing it all and being like, oh, my whole day is just gone. And this type of stuff happens all the time to you personally, and it happens all the time in your business as well. Especially if you're in a growth-oriented business. I'm sure you've seen this all the time. You know, you're seeing some strong signals that things are going well. You've got the right systems in place. You're like, great, finally, this marketing campaign, this sales strategy, this product is going well. Let's double down. Let's put down some money on it and just get this machine rolling. And then just nothing converts. And you're like, why can't my salespeople convert this thing? This should have been running. Something is wrong here. Or you launch your V1 of your product, you're getting some really, really good feedback. People are using some really key features heavily, so you're like, all right, V2, we're doubling down on these features. It's going to work. You launch V2, and nobody ends up using those features. What's going on? Right? These are problems that you're going to run into. They sidetrack you from the ultimate goal of what you're trying to get to, and you know it's so clear to you. All you have to do is just do this one thing, and you'll get down that path of success. But you start getting derailed and derailed and derailed. But that's the life of an entrepreneur, that's the life of startups. And you'll eventually fix these issues and get back on track. But how much did that demotivate you and the team? How much did that stop you from driving towards that goal? And how much time did you lose? How much growth potential did you lose by dealing with all these sidetrack issues that you had to go through? And how much faster could you have grown if you had known about this up front? And more importantly, why didn't you even see this up front to deal with it? Most of these things are dealt because of your lack of bigger vision and understanding of the bigger picture, which is fine and it's normal. It's what everybody goes through, right? We eventually catch these things, but these are in our blind spots. These are the things that we didn't know, right? They're just not in our vision. They're not in our periphery. We're just not aware of them at any given time. The good thing is, as you deal with these problems, you're building resiliency within yourself and you're building strength within your team and understanding how to take on challenges like this. The problem is, when you're in the startup life and the do-or-die life of an entrepreneur and being in a startup, these things hold you back from speeding through that life or death moments, right? They're holding you back from the potential success that you could be reaching. And this is where I really want to introduce the concept of coaching that I've noticed a lot of startups don't have within their teams. So, oops, this is the thing. So, my name is Bijan Vaez. I'm the founder and former CTO at a company called EventMobi. We develop technology for event planners to help them create the ultimate event experiences. Over the past 9 years, we're actually a Toronto-based company with employees in Victoria and Berlin and the US as well, and many partners around the world. We've become and bootstrapped the whole company to become a global SaaS success story. We have more than 15,000 clients around the world. We've been on Deloitte's Fast 50 fastest growing tech companies in Canada multiple years, Fast 500 in North America multiple years in a row. But all of this growth hasn't come without its challenges. And a lot of these challenges that we had to deal with in getting here, and actually that probably prevented us from growing even faster, was really because of our own blind spots and the things we didn't know that we kind of ran up into. I'll go into a few of them that really changed for us. First one being, on our path to getting to 100+ staff, we read about how important it is about early stage employees and culture and those sort of things, but you don't really know the impact that your early employees can actually have on the growth of the company over time. And more importantly, the strategies that you need to employ into how to actually retain those employees as your company grows into a well-oiled machine. And the impact, and everyone talks about, yeah, okay, there's impact and you've got to keep those guys, but what does that really mean? What does that look like day to day? It's impossible to know from reading blog posts or reading books or hearing from other founder stories. And these are the things that we ran into, which we didn't realize, like how do we notice the signs that our early employees are leaving and how do we keep them? This was a difficulty that we had to go through. On our path to getting to 10 million plus attendees on our platform, we didn't realize actually the complexity of maintaining a huge SaaS product that's growing really fast, that's adding features all the time, and how that affects our engineering recruitment strategy and where we allocate our resources, right? So if we bring in engineers on, it was all growth, 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 new features, new features, new features, not realizing actually how complex it gets to actually run a SaaS system like that. And that could have really helped us, that foresight could have really helped us. We didn't have a clear vision of what that actually meant in terms of architecture. As we grew past 10 million in ARR, and we started hitting different markets and we started hitting different customers, we needed different sales and marketing leaders to help us get to where we were going. And not really understanding at what stages we needed to bring in different types of sales and marketing leaders, but more importantly, the characteristics of each leader that we bring on changes the culture of the team completely. And so what type of characteristics do we need at different stages of our growth and different models of our sales and marketing strategies that will help us actually maximize growth? These are things that just weren't in our periphery and in our vision. And as we now have EventMobi operating in 72 countries around the world, and we had to set up local offices such as Berlin, obviously everyone knows it's like hard to set up remote offices and keep that running, and there's legal and HR challenges, but there's things we had no idea about local customs and norms about selling into these areas and regions and what it actually takes for them to make buying decisions in those regions that are specific as well. Lots and lots of learning, and things that we eventually dealt with. It's great. It's all fine. The company's still growing, and the team got through it. But when we look at it back on that time period, there's one very easy win that we could have brought in that would have really helped us lessen the burden, lessen the stress of taking on these challenges for both us as the founders and for the team as well. And really that all comes down to having coaches on our team earlier than we actually brought them on. A big part of being an entrepreneur and running your company efficiently is helping your team actually keep focused on that narrow path of success, right? And not letting them get sidetracked in every which way, and not getting them bogged down in things that come to them every day that they have to deal with. Having a coach that's not biased and not operationally burdened about what they need to do every day, and come in and help that person actually objectively think about what they need to get done, help them with the decision-making framework, help them actually take a step back out of their day-to-day that's not part of the organization. It's not biased about, oh, we have this meeting and we have to get this done tomorrow and this is my goal for next week. Just, I'm just coming here to help you make sense of what's going on is a really, really huge, huge gain that you can have, and it can make a huge difference in your team. They're really bringing good tried and true practices. So even companies like Shopify actually have a dedicated internal professional coaches, a whole team that services their executive team and their upper management full-time. And these are professional coaches. They're not necessarily from tech. They're from I think somebody was like a martial arts person and moved into that. But these are individuals who are professional certified coaches that can sit down with an executive, have no idea what's going on, but help them with their framework around how they're making decisions and how they're able to move their business forward. And these are really, really important things actually that can help you mentally clear up what you need to get done and move things forward. And more importantly, I think even as we've gone through it, it's super important to have it for everybody on the team and have it available for any one of your employees on demand as they need it, somebody out of the company that they can refer to. I mean, in the ideal sense, you want to have the right experts and managers in-house, that are there and helping people. But we all know with the crazy talent wars that are going on, like how long is that going to take you to bring that person? 3 months, 6 months, 10 months? And how much growth are you missing out on and actually being able to get things moving forward in the right direction by not having that person on board? And this is where coaches can really come in and help, is just step in, clear things up, help with decision-making, help set up some clear action items. More importantly, just set up a vision of what things are going to look like if we do it the right way, if we move forward. We might not move forward at full speed ahead right now because we don't have the right person, but let's at least think about it and break down the way that we're approaching this, not be all crazy, hand-wavy every day, right? This is a huge, huge benefit that they can bring on. And coaches can look in a variety of different ways. I mean, as I mentioned, there's professional coaches that are certified and trained to actually help you with decision-making criteria. But there's also functional coaches, which kind of sit between mentors and consultants, people who are much more holistic, who are former business leaders who've been there and been in that position, have seen it in the bigger picture of things, and can help you actually take on those strategies with things that they've done. These are battlefield-tested strategies of actually getting things done and moving ahead and unblocking yourself. And really the goal of having a functional coach is to provide you that bigger vision of, okay, what's around that bend? I don't know, I've never been there, but they have. And that's what they can really help you with. So suffice to say, I think a large part of actually keeping that growth machine going is finding, cultivating experts in all areas of your company and having them ready to provide that perspective at any given time. Because no matter how smart you and your team are, no matter how unique your product and industry is, someone at some point has made the same mistake that you're about to make. So why not learn from it and avoid it? Thank you. Sure.
So we're going to kind of walk around, ask any questions anyone may have. If you can shoot up your hand, and I'll make my way over. There you go.
Sure.
Looks like it's going to be a speech question. Prepare yourself.
So, these people don't understand business, when you're talking about the people who have been in business, who have managed businesses.
Yep.
If you look at the new businesses which are coming up, they don't understand that.
Yeah.
When we talk about disruption, especially in fintech, HR tech, and the new world which is coming, do you still find them relevant? And I'm one of the oldies, which,
Sure.
I'm just intrigued because I don't see the theories which were taught in the 90s relevant anymore.
Yeah.
I don't see organizational structures relevant anymore. So I'm intrigued that you're looking at that expertise.
So I think that's actually a really good point. And this is something that we went through. I think every startup at some point says, we're reinventing everything from the ground up. We're a different organization. We're not like the rest. We're whatever. We're going to be flat. We're going to be this. We're going to be doing things differently. At the end of the day, when you're running a business, there's some basic things that need to get done. And especially if you haven't, and I think most entrepreneurs, it's their first time going through this, or at least at the growth point that you're at, it's probably your first time getting to that growth point. You haven't seen the challenges that are on the other side, but that applies across the board. And the things that you're doing that are unique to your business or industry, that stuff you will know better than anybody else. There's probably nobody else that can really coach you on that. It's really about somebody that's been there through that, because at that time period, somebody had also gone through it. They were also new to that. They had to go through the same learning and questions to ask and address the same type of problems. And so the coaches are really there to be the sounding board of, okay, we're going to go out like this. Like, I don't know what can go wrong. And they're like, well, I did something new back maybe 10 years ago, and this is all the things that failed. Have you accounted for these pieces, right? I think that's the type of stuff that'll really help bring in. Not for them to tell you how to run your business or not to tell them, bring strategies and what you can do, because you're going to do that better than them anyways. It's more about covering, again, the peripheries that'll just keep you focused on that path and not stumble around in different ways of things you didn't think about or were oblivious to.
Great question. There's one over here. That's awkward. Moving on. Dave, you got anything?
I got plenty.
Go for it. This is your time. Shine.
I would like to know, so when you're thinking about your organization and you're bringing in a coach who's going to help your team achieve a vision, did your team sort of react differently because this coach is trying to help them do that, but really they're just a conduit of the leadership to try and push something in a direction? Did you ever run into that issue?
No, because I think, again, it's the coaches aren't there to tell you what to do or what direction to go to. It's about you're coming into that discussion of, okay, I'm going to paint you a picture in like 5 minutes, or probably even less. Like the coach might run it through, just like give me a one sentence of like what you're dealing with right now. And then it really is that structural thinking of, I'm going to help you break this down. I have no idea what your business is. I don't really care about how you're going to go about it. I'm just going to help you think about it in a better way, and then let you come to the right solution in which you need to. And I think that's the stuff that usually founders spend a lot of their time doing with their team when it's 10 people, 20 people. But as you grow and you're bringing in, again, more people, more junior people, and you don't have that time as a founder to help your team work through problems like that, this is where a coach really comes in to help them actually break down their mental models and move things forward faster.
on Norm, we're going to wrap it up. I hope it's about Coach Bombay. If anyone gets stuck on this, bless you. Yes.
So say we make the decision to bring a coach into our company. Like, how would you go about kind of explaining the purpose of that to the team, getting buy-in on it?
So usually it might even just be like privately, kind of depending on how it works. Like we had executive coaches that we just off hours, we'd go have an hour kind of meeting with them once every other week. It depends on your team. I think most people will be like, this is great. Okay, we're just having somebody else that can provide a sounding board to. And I think more importantly, it's becoming much more common to see across most companies to have somebody there. Again, it's like for a lot of smaller companies, you might not have a board, you might not have certain investors on board that are really value add, you might not have that sort of supporting network, and it's super, super important to at least have some coaches around that can help you, again, with all the million things that you have to do and just help you kind of be a little bit more systematic around it.